All right, bang. Today is Wednesday. It's August 3rd. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. We're bringing back a doc review. It's been a while since we did this. Maybe Von Dutch.
I think you're right.
Maybe.
Wow, that feels so long ago.
I think it was, dude.
October 2021, we did Von Dutch.
I know we at least did it after the great one we did about the abandoned amusement park.
Yeah.
But it's myself, it's Chief, it's Dante. Here we go. We are going to talk about the most hated man on the internet. That's what it's called, right?
Correct.
For some reason, I get it. I wanted to say the smartest man in the room, the Enron one, which is very good in its own right. You ever seen that one?
No,
I think
need
I
to
have.
watch that one.
Long time. It's old, right?
Yeah, it's
like
old.
10 years old.
It's
Something
pretty
like that?
old.
Yeah.
It's pretty old. The most hated man on the internet, it chronicles Hunter Moore, who was a online pseudo celebrity, I guess, who was just a big revenge porn guy.
Yeah.
He was more than that.
Yeah, he was a lot. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Before we do, though, I want to talk about Upstart. Upstart is a powered personal loan that can help you pay down high-interest debt all online with simple and easy-to-understand payment terms. Upstart has helped over 1.8 million customers on their path to financial freedom. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, Upstart can help you get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Upstart knows you're more than just a credit score, so rather than looking at your credit score alone, Upstart's model considers other factors like your income, employment, and other information provided in your loan application to find you a smarter rate for your loan. And you can even check your rate in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000 without impacting your credit score. The best part, you could receive the funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. So don't wait. Check your rate today at upstart.com/Eddie. That's upstart.com/Eddie, EDDIE, to check your rate today. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know that we sent you. One more time, loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/Eddie and start being smarter about your debt today. Okay, so yes, he was more than that. He created the website called isanyoneup.com.
Do either of you guys remember that website?
So I knew this story.
Okay.
I was aware.
But so this was 2011, 10-11, right?
Yes.
So you were...
I was...
College.
College, yes. I was 21, 22.
Do you remember it being a thing when you were in college?
No, it wasn't. Definitely not.
Me neither.
So
I don't remember it at all.
watching this, I was like, where the fuck was I when all this was going on?
I was on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember this website.
All right, so I'm not alone because I felt like when you guys were talking about it and Eddie was like, yo, this is your boy. I was like, I don't fucking remember any of this.
That surprises me, though, because you were in the fucking... I mean,
You're
not
in the
that
weeds.
scene.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's why I was texting you like, yo, is this guy a DJ? And they showed clips like he was doing those promo parties, throwing those parties in LA, which was a thing. I'll get into it after, but there was another guy who was similar to this guy who I knew about and fucking hated.
Okay.
Who you guys, I'm sure you know about Barstool history. The Nick Richie guy from The Dirty.
Dude, you took it away from me.
So
Fuck.
watching that, watching this, I kept thinking of that motherfucker who
Yes.
Dave buried. Dave had like a vendetta against that guy for years, and he was one of the only people on the internet that had the balls to go after him. Mm-hmm. And he used to throw parties. He's toured around the country. Like he did one at Crowbar in Chicago, I remember. And I was like so confused. Like, who wants to go hang out with this fucking guy that...
Oh, I don't understand that. That was the same thing with this doc. It was like, this guy, I'm trying to think if he had one redeeming quality. He had like nothing, even like his fucking face. I'm like, I don't like that guy's face.
Yeah. So I do a lot of hate scrolling and a lot of hate like watching.
Yeah.
Like he was a train wreck that you couldn't turn off. Like I found out about him when Bullyville had already taken over. So people, long story short, to summarize the doc, hopefully you watch it because then this conversation is more productive and you can understand what we're talking about. But he started this site and he would just post girls' nude photos. And he would say they're submitted. It turns out that they were hacked. The large majority of them were, at least. Some of them were submitted, and he would basically be fucking ruthless, post their address, post their social media, and not give a single fuck about these human beings who are outed with their tits out.
He was doxing people for being nude.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that. The way you know this guy is a true, absolute fucking piece of shit was that every time he would get asked point blank, do you feel guilty about any of this? He wouldn't even own it. he was like, it's not me doing it. It's the people that are submitting them to me that
I'm
are
just a
doing it.
platform.
Yeah.
Like that was like the just salt in the wound, like lemon juice in the eye. He was just like, fuck everybody. Just absolute fucking one of the worst people I've ever fucking seen in my life.
So I don't think Barstool really covered this guy because that's how I would have known him, because it was like, I want to say, if anything, I found out about them because someone like someone mentioned him on Twitter. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I kind of just went down a rabbit hole. I was like, okay. But at that point, Bullyville had already taken over the site. And he was dead, but he had his Twitter account. Like, remember when they said he was still going hard? He was talking about the fucking 2.0 version. And that's what I saw. And what you see in that doc about, like, what he tweets and, like, how hardcore he was, that was all true.
Yeah.
Like,
so you remember
tweet,
that?
Yes. He would tweet, like, multiple girls' asses just, like, with Coke filled in them. Like, it was, like seriously, it was, like, not, like, for show at all. That was real deal what those people were tweeting.
It was
crazy.
It was every single part of this documentary was shocking. Like I was just like watching with like my mouth on the floor, like my jaw on the floor. It was like, this is fucking like how, and it also, I feel like maybe since him, I feel like this is true. Like there's been legislation passed about like revenge porn and like doxing. And
so they said at the end it's a 48 state thing, but it's not federal, which I feel like that should be a pretty.
Who are the holdouts? We got Alaska and Hawaii out there being like,
I honestly want to know.
I don't know, but there was just so much about this. It just feels like, I mean, it was only 10 years ago, but it feels like it was 20 years ago. They're showing the internet. And
that
it's
was
like,
internet 1.0 still.
Bro, but how old did all that look and feel compared?
All the formatting, like even like the way that they would show like the screenshots of the old Twitter format.
So I'm like watching it, like it looks like the 90s, but it's 10 years ago. It's not that long ago, but everything was just so different. And the people that were interviewed in it were talking about how the internet was literally the wild, wild west back then.
It was.
There was no fucking oversight. You could do whatever you wanted. Everything was permanent, which people were just figuring out and realizing as things were going along.
Yeah.
And I mean, the real depressing part about it for me, I felt like just shit watching it, just seeing just how shitty people can be, was the people that like worshipped this guy, worshipped him.
I could not understand that. I don't understand it. They're like, you're a god. Like Twitter's not as fun now that he's locked up. Like the amount of people. I was having the thought where I'm like, because he had that thing like hashtag the family, and they were getting involved in like harassing. Fucking Charlotte Laws is a gangster.
Your tweet, I was cracking up.
But like harassing all the people who were involved or like trying to take him down, and like he just had like this army of people just sucking trolls just sucking his dick, to the point I was like, maybe it's like 5 people and it's like they all have 20 accounts and they just amplify
maybe
it.
I don't know, like
I just can't imagine. But then it's like they show like,
but dude, there were real people like messaging and the fax machine like letter, like there were people actually doing that shit that he basically controlled and was like sicking them on his enemies.
The hacker who took down her first blog that she wrote in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah,
that was nuts.
That was crazy.
But don't you think that was that Charlie Evans guy?
Had to be.
Maybe.
I think because Charlie Evans was the guy who was like tricking all these girls into like through Facebook into like getting access to their emails, and then he would go through all their attachments and then send those over to Hunter Moore as like anonymous uploads.
It's like the most basic hack, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of smart.
Totally would have fallen
Dude,
for that.
I fell for one like that a few months ago.
Yeah, did you?
Some things never change.
No, but it was a timing thing. Like Gaz was doing the verification shit on Instagram, and he asked me to like submit stuff to him, and then like 4 days later, I got this message from a legit looking thing, and it was like, click here to like process your verification thing, whatever. Boom, fucking fell for it. He was so mad.
I actually,
he was like, how many messages do I send out to the whole company
to not to do it?
Not doing this shit.
I got one maybe a week or two ago that it was on Twitter, and it was from like a checkmarked account, that it was a Twitter safety team saying like your account is going to be suspended for like all these like racist, like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? And I'm just like, and it's like, click this link to see all your thing. I'm like, I think this is a scam. Like, I'm not a racist. So like, I sent a screenshot to Gaz, and I'm like, just to make sure, like, this is a scam. He's like, yep. So
Good.
like, you have to, got to keep your eye. I just assume DMs now that if they have a link in it, scam.
I was getting extorted though. The kid was like, just Venmo me and I'll give you your account back. And I was like, no. You know who fucking helped me out?
Who?
Marco Piemonte.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say Scott.
No.
Because you know that happened to him too, right?
Dude, he lost everything.
Everything. He had like an Instagram account of like, I don't know, 100,000, something like that.
But he lost his like Gmail account.
Banking, Gmail, everything. And it was
They
like some guy in like fucking Tunisia or Algeria or something. So,
Crazy.
Yeah.
For the record, this is not an updated. This is from 2019, but as of 2019, there were 4 states: Wyoming, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Massachusetts. So one of those 4, there's 2 out of those 4.
Dude, what a group for Massachusetts to be
I know,
in there.
right? Yeah.
I was going to say
Crazy.
the internet isn't in those states yet.
And if you had to be like, these 4 states have one thing in common, that would be the last thing you would guess.
It would be revenge porn. Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it was just a crazy thing where, like you said, you can't understand why people followed him, but at the same time, like the lady who married fucking Richard Ramirez, the people who fucking idolize these like school shooters and shit, like there's fucking crazy people, man.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Like, why aren't those people rounded up on a list? And
I don't know.
like, that's pre-crime if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Seriously, am I wrong?
I mean, you're not wrong, but like, I don't want to usher in an era of arresting people for thoughts.
Well, that's like the Cannibal Cop, bro.
What?
Did you ever watch that, Doc?
I don't think so.
That there was a cop on a New York police cop, and he was in like some site talking about fetishes, and he said one of his fetishes was eating like someone that he knew, and like slicing, and like he was very meticulous about how like he like went to, I think he went to trial. I don't know if he went to trial. Don't quote me.
Did he do it?
No, he didn't do it. He didn't do anything. He just talked about it. So it was literally called thought crimes. Like, what are you?
Well, then he's innocent.
But yeah, but like he said, they should be on. Like, what do you do?
I don't know what you do, but if he didn't do anything,
I think he was a stoolie too.
was he? That's not great.
There's no
KFC
place for
talking about
people
him.
like that in society.
No, but
in
also
my-
at the
in my
same
mind.
time, like I've been pretty interested in this trial for that Florida shooting. You know,
the Parkland
yeah,
kid?
like I've been following along pretty closely and like reading a lot of stuff. So like, is that going to put me in that box because I'm interested in the trial?
No, you're not like glorifying the kid or
Yes.
like these fucking psychos that.
Well, they say like your own mind is supposed to be like, no one can. Where does a thought come from? Nobody fucking knows.
Yeah.
Right? So you have all these thoughts that just pop up in your head, which is like a crazy thing to think about. Like it's just like an infinite regression thing, but it's like your conscious mind is supposed to serve as a critic for the thoughts you can't control. So this fucking guy who's like, I have this thing. I don't know where it comes from, but I want to eat people. Like, I don't think you can arrest that guy. He hasn't done anything. He's like, if anything, I think he's like doing a good job of not like giving in to like his fucking insanity.
Yeah.
By like, like in a way, you know what I'm saying? You can't say.
No, this is actually.
I think I'm right about that.
This is a very interesting conversation because there was a protest at a theater near me.
Okay.
Because they were having something that involved child pedophilia, and it was something where people say like, if you have those urges, like, do you speak up and like, how do you try to help those people? Or if it's like, well, no, those people need to be fucking locked away, and if you even think about that, you're a fucked up. You know? And
Dude,
it's, what do you do?
I don't know.
I took a criminal justice course in Loyola that was taught by a retired detective who dealt with sexual deviance and all that shit. It was one of the most like scarring fucking semesters of my life. Just hearing the stories, reading what we read. At the end, it was basically conclusive that those types of people are non-rehabilitational, I think is the word.
Yeah.
There's no rehabbing those people. And this guy was like, he was like a South Side detective, just the most stereotypical Chicago cop ever. He was just like, you got to castrate them or imprison them or both.
Something. Yeah.
But it's an interesting
I don't
dynamic.
It is. And the thing that drives me crazy, this is the first time I had heard about it. I was listening to, you guys know Tom Segura?
Yeah.
Of course.
So he has a podcast with his wife, Christina, who's also can't think of her last name right now. It's not Segura. Patsky or something like that. Yeah. Where they have a podcast. So I was like on a flight somewhere. I'm like, oh, I'll pull that up. She said that there is a term now for what you're talking about called minor attracted people, because they don't want to call them pedophiles anymore, because that is derogatory and mean. They're just minor.
Stop.
I swear that they're like trying to go woke about pedophiles. Like, it's fucking insanity. Like, you can't hurt the pedophile's feelings. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that is like, this is what I mean. Like, everything's going insane. And I don't know how we got way off on the subject of this.
I don't know,
thing,
but it's an interesting.
I want to
conversation.
flip this table over right now.
From that, like, I
like
could not believe that was like there was people who were arguing for that. In like,
well, dude, I remember growing up in Massachusetts, there was a big NAMBLA presence.
What's that?
This is like really embarrassing that I know, but again, I took this course, North American Man Boy Love Association. And it is these guys who have no problem admitting and being public about their attraction to kids. And they protest, like Eddie's saying, for their rights. They think that there's nothing wrong with it. They cite history.
Well, it was a big thing in the Roman Empire.
This is the thing.
But then Rome fell because they were so debaucherous.
Dude, they're sick fucks.
Yeah.
And like the ACLU defends them because it's their right as long as they haven't committed a crime. Like,
can I say something?
It's fucked, man.
I am out on the ACLU.
I'm not shocked.
Out. Like,
I'm not shocked.
Like, they pick and choose when it, like, they'll defend them, but then there's other things. Like, if you're defending civil liberties, like, that has to be a kind of a universal thing. You can't just pick it for political reasons. Like, you should be defending what's in the Constitution as a civil liberty.
Yeah.
So it drives me fucking crazy. I hate the ACLU. They asked me, I was walking, they had people like trying to raise money or get signatures underneath the Belmont stop there. They walk home, and like 2 days before there was one.
Oh, that's a hot spot.
There was one for Doctors Without Borders, and the guy, like, I don't know, I get sucked into a conversation. Then there was the next day, it was like the ACLU, and I'm like, I'm not talking to you people. You don't stand up for civil liberties. Get the fuck out of my way. And I didn't say get the fuck out of my way, but I did. I'm like, you guys don't stand for anything. Like, you don't, like, you're a fucking hypocrite. This is just a political action group. Don't try to say that you're for civil liberties. Anyways.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a break here because I want to talk about the Gametime app. The Gametime app is the exclusive ticketing app of Barstool Sports. Gametime is a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. They crack the code on how to score last-minute deals on last-minute tickets. You can find MLB tickets for under $15 all in on Gametime. Yankees tickets as low as $14, Red Sox $14, Mets $13, Braves $14, Cubs $12. You name it, Gametime has a hookup on all deals to get you out to the ballpark. Dante, you're playing this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah, Windy City Smokeout, yes. But I'm using Gametime on Wednesday. I'm going to see Swedish House Mafia at Madison Square Garden.
Damn. Oh,
they hooked it up.
Beautiful. But can people buy tickets on Gametime to see you? Can they buy Smokeout?
Windy City Smokeout? I'm not sure.
I
I'm
think
not sure
so.
either.
I'm going to look right now. How about that? Talk a little bit while I look.
Do you want to have a race for it?
Yeah, no.
Well, can I pump your tires a little bit?
Of course.
I thought last year in the rain when you were on stage, that was like, to me, you ended COVID. Like that was the end of it. And Dante on stage, there was probably, I don't know, how much, 30, it seemed like thousands and 30,000 people. It was crazy. It was like,
Ed there was a lot.
It went all the way to the end of the parking lot, just packed with people. And that was like the moment, like everybody came, like we're done eating food, everybody came up to the stage, the vibes were high, and it was like in that moment, COVID did not exist, and we're just like, we're done with this shit. And it was that, like I was looking out because we were up in the front by you, and I remember looking out being like,
thanks,
fuck
baby.
Yeah. And it was a great show.
I remember that was the first like big gathering
Right.
I'd been to in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like,
Dante
I
killed COVID.
I forgot how fucking great it was
Yeah.
getting a lot of people together in one
And
place.
there's just something about like it was downpouring rain too, and it was just
Fact,
made
you
it
can
great.
buy Windy City
There you go.
Smokeout tickets on Game Time.
Nice.
And no offense to Dante, I'm only going Thursday this year. Thursday's the night. Willie Nelson, Turnpike Troubadours, Zach Bryan. Those are like three of my favorite people in music. And Thursday's the night, and you're doing Saturday, you said, right?
I'm kind of bummed, man, because I really want to go Friday, but I'm playing with Bree at Forward in Cleveland. Chicken fries coming out there, so I have to be there for it.
But if you were going to go on Friday, Game Time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Game Time.
So I'm Saturday with Sam Hunt.
Ooh.
Boom. Best part is you get $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app. Go to the account tab. Create a login. Redeem code DOGWALK for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download Game Time last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's get back to the show.
So back to Hunter Moore before we put a bow on this. What's he? I know you know all this shit, Ed. What is he up to these days?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
He had to have changed his name and identity, right?
He was supposed to be in the documentary and bailed.
Yeah.
So
Shocker.
Yeah.
I've looked within recent years and I couldn't find anything either. Like I found a Twitter account and I thought it was him, but then I'm like, well, he was banned. So
Yeah.
Do you think he had a like epiphany and realized, wow, I need to completely change my life because I
don't think so.
he was
man.
soulless, bro. Some
Yeah.
people just do not give a fuck about other people, and he takes it to the most extreme degree.
I don't
Right?
know.
Yeah.
Dude, he lost. Like, all right, we're also leaving out a huge part. Anonymous is the fucking best. Unless you're on their shit list, which I will go out of my way for the rest of my life not to get on Anonymous' shit list.
Well, that was
gonna terrify the fuck out of me.
That was
It always have.
Yeah. So this was going to be my question. This guy had the FBI and Anonymous after him.
Oh, dude.
Which
Give me the FBI.
that
all
would be
day.
my question. Would you rather have the FBI after you or
The
Anonymous?
FBI guys were like, we were doing our work, and it's tedious, so it takes months. Like they were taking months and months and months.
They're building a case.
The minute Anonymous posted that video, and the Marine who ran Bullyville was like, within hours, they were like, he was dead. He was dead in the state of California. He had no social security number. His bank account was wiped out. All the money was transferred to a women's abuse shelter.
It's unbelievable. Like they're like heroes of the internet, but then like they're also the scary. They're Batman. They're internet
Dude,
Batman.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
Great comparison.
Yes. Thank
They
you.
wiped out his websites and the backups so that nothing could be recovered or put back online. Just like, yo, if they can do all, and not that they're the fucking, DOJ.gov or anything, but
They might be.
he also pointed out that Marine guy, what was his name? Dude,
I can't remember.
he was
Bullyville.com.
he was kind of
Yeah,
badass, but he pointed out, he was like, yeah, we're talking about a group that when the Arab Spring was going on, they like shut down.
Oh, they shut down Egypt's website.
They shut down Egypt's whole government, like on the internet.
That's what I mean, where it's like there's like so much crazy shit's going on in the world, and like emails get leaked all the time. It's like the Panama Papers and things like that. I almost feel like these people in like 30 years from now, depending on how the world shakes out, like they should get the Medal of Honor. like just
Anonymous.
some kind of, or what's the I think Bill Russell got it, R.I.P. the Presidential Medal of Freedom, where they're just like they're the highest award you can give to a civilian. But then I also feel like our government hates them.
Well, dude, they tried to shut him down over the Snowden thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wish they did more, honestly. I feel like the Batman comparison is great. Like they're the only people with fucking morals.
But I think they had some lone wolves, like kind of maybe take on some different jobs that like,
Probably.
discredited.
Probably.
Like I think that's the thing. Like once you're like nobody knows who anonymous is, so people are going to pretend that they're anonymous. So
That's true.
that's the issue.
Yeah.
God, I wish I
I'm
did.
anonymous.
I wish I knew someone anonymous.
Well, that's what the Marine guy said. He's like, oh yeah, like I've got a few friends, like they're no joke, and he was like, yeah, no shit, like no shit. Do not fuck with anonymous.
So I think after all that, like what's her name, Charlotte Laws mentioned, he got his comeuppance. I think after all that, I think he had to have been like, man, I fucked up.
Well, they said in the court, the daughter. What was the daughter? Kayla Laws.
Yeah.
That she said the hacker had turned around, said, I'm sorry. And Hunter's lawyer tried to put it all on the hacker.
Right.
And Hunter had like no remorse.
Yeah.
No remorse.
Fucked, man.
Yeah. And he was, I think he definitely would have restarted that site, is what it sounds like. And supposedly he was, I don't know how a judge can ban someone from social media too.
I think it's probation thing. I think when you're out, if like a PO checks up if you're like, they drug test you, are you working, and hey, are you on social media? I think they like keep tabs on you, and if you are, you violate your probation, you're back in the clink. But man, that part was like very telling. You're right. And also when his parents bailed him out of jail, I was like, wait a minute, this guy has parents that give a shit about him? Like, where the fuck are they?
Yeah.
What the fuck have they been doing?
And he lived at home, dude.
Yeah,
So he was doing that under their roof.
And
that's nuts.
it's crazy. And they had to know. And then they did know, because Charlotte Laws called his mom. Called his mom at her workplace and was like, hey, like this is what your son is doing. And nothing.
Fucked.
So
fucked.
Yeah.
There a couple more things too. The toothbrush in the toilet was the most disgusting video I've ever seen.
Please, Ed.
I mean, it turned my stomach and it's turning thinking about it.
Yep. Nope.
That was fucking horrible.
Nope.
What do you think about? And we have to talk about Butthole Girl. And like, listen, I
felt bad for
like.
Butthole
Yes,
Girl.
Butthole Girl. Like, she got caught up in the wave a little bit too much, right?
Yeah. I'd say
that's
A little much.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope she's doing fine. She seems like she's doing better.
Yep.
But Butthole Girl is a force.
I have one other like kind of star. It like made me laugh and it shouldn't, and I know it's like sexist that it made me laugh, but the whole first episode is Charlotte Laws, and she's contacting the guy's mom, and she's writing emails, and she's reaching out to media, and she's doing this and she's doing that, and they had keeping it hidden from her husband, who is Kayla's stepfather, who's like this British attorney, like kind of nerdy guy. And so he was, like there, Charlotte Laws is doing everything she can to get these pictures down. Charles calls up his lawyer and pictures down half an hour. So it's just like, you can do everything you want. Charles just gets, hey, take that down right now. Okay. Like that was just, it was like, you guys have gone through every single avenue to get this done except for the proper one, which is just to call a guy, your husband, who's the lawyer.
Yeah, but he was like the ultimatum and everything he did was
But
like,
dude, so back again to like how long ago this all felt, but it really wasn't that long ago. They went to all these people and everyone basically told her the same thing, Charles included. Like, if you didn't want it out there, you shouldn't have taken it. Like the police chief,
That was
all these people they went to were like criminalizing her for taking this picture. Like nowadays, I feel like it's completely flipped, rightfully so.
unless you're in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but like she went to her stepdad, or the mom went to the stepdad and was like, "Can you help out with this?" And he was like, "I think it's just gonna add fuel to the fire. You should just forget about it and move on."
Well, he was like but then he like got the facts. Like we're gonna rape and kill you and all this. Like,
and then he was like,
horrible.
"Okay, I should have done more."
I'll step in.
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, like this is going to go to court. It's going to cost thousands of dollars of fees. I'm going to do it for free. So tell your guy, like it's going to cost him thousands and we'll just battle this forever. And he's like, all right. So like it was that simple. But then credit to Charlotte Laws, who was like, well, it's not enough to just my daughters.
She could have stopped right
there.
there.
Yeah, she could have, absolutely.
She's a bad mamma jamma.
She is.
Good for her.
Yeah.
She was. She could be in my foxhole any day.
Fearless.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting a fax like that?
Yeah,
or an emails like, whew.
Like you want to talk about? You said anonymous or the FBI. I mean, throw Charlotte Laws in there too.
Yeah.
She's a force.
Charlotte.
Well, all the FBI agents were like, she would show them her work, and they would be like, "Wow, this lady is better at her job than we are."
Well, and same thing with the I think it was from the Rolling Stone or one of the publications who did a piece on Hunter Moore was like, "Oh yeah, she's a better investigative journalist than anybody I've come across." I was like, well, she's not.
What'd you think of the girlfriend? I saw that was a little polarizing.
I had a soft spot for her.
Really?
Yeah, because that girl met Hunter Moore in 2011 when she was 18 years old, and she clearly felt remorse at the end. And it was just like, I have sympathy for people who get sucked into something when they're a kid, and then when you're 18, you're a kid. And I could see being like, if she was still like,
all right, you swung me.
Yeah, like people make mistakes.
All right,
you know. And
I was gonna say there's no way she didn't know what the fuck was going on, but you're right. When you're that young, you're so stupid.
Yeah. And then he's like this figure who,
but
like,
bro, like
people
him going on Anderson and shit. Like, the message was pretty fucking clear.
That
the guy was a scumbag.
Right, but then maybe that's when she starts to question it, and then as it goes along, you know, she's like, "Wow, this actually is fucked up," you know. And she's reading these emails, being like, "It's ruining my life. Can you please, you know, get through to your boyfriend?" And it sounds like she had tears in her eyes. And I am a sucker for apologies and girls crying. So I tended to believe her.
Yeah.
So
it is crazy how much the world has changed, because I feel like this shit, it's great how protected it is now, like we just said. But back in the day, dude, people used to fire around nudes like it was crazy. I don't feel like that happens as much anymore.
I think you're just you
think so?
aged
I'm
out
just
of
older.
It. Yeah,
I think that's happening.
I think there's shitty college kids who are passing around nudes left and right.
Maybe you're right.
It like terrifies me to even think about what high school kids do nowadays. I mean, if I had the technology we have now when I was in high school,
but I think they realize the magnitude of it more now, right?
I don't know, man. I think they're so desensitized to everything.
I think it's more. I would guess it's more like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which is fucked to think as a parent.
Yeah. And now it's just like there's OnlyFans, there's porn everywhere. Like I don't even remember. Like I'm trying to think like when like Pornhub and places like that became like super mainstream. It's probably around the same time, you know.
Well, one of the band guys made a point, and he was like, "This is another dated thing." He was like, "Sidekicks were like the preferred cell phones of everybody at the time because you could text on them." It's like, oh my God, are we fucking old?
Yeah.
But that was like the very first iteration of cell phone cams. Yep. And that's when he was like, that's when people started taking nudes. So it's only been 10 years, 10 or so years that's been happening.
Yeah.
With that was mobile phones.
That was one of my biggest takeaways too, was that I wanted to bring up Nick Richie because there's no way he could watch that and not be like shaking his boots.
Oh yeah,
because you know the dirty doc is coming.
So here is the difference though. Like I kept watching, and until the end when they exposed the hacker, I knew a lot of people that were on, because the dirty was by city.
Yeah.
And it was part in a way it was even more ruthless because it was basically like Barstool for shitbags and people who just wanted to fucking terrorize other people. It was broken down like Boston, New York, Chicago, LA. And everyone I knew that was on there was put on there by people that knew them.
Yeah.
Like this was just some fucking like shithead hacker that was hacking into people's shit and stealing photos. These were like girls that hated other girls, going through profiles, finding pictures, finding like compromising shit on them and posting them. It was basically like the burn book in Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And Nick Richie, same thing. Oh,
exactly
I'm just posting this shit. But then he would comment on them like, to fuel the fucking comment section and all that. So it was the same, but it was also different.
That was the other thing too about probably both these. The dirty wasn't pictures though, was it?
Wow,
Wasn't
the dirty
yeah.
still exists.
Which is fucked up, man.
it, but it wasn't
shit.
it like stories more than like
It was everything. It was
Okay.
pictures. It
I
was
don't
like
remember
rumors.
that.
Like I heard so and so fucked.
I remember
so-and-so.
that. Yeah.
Like this girl has STDs. Watch out for her. It was like ruthless shit. But the nudity stuff, they would blur it out because they had big fucking advertising.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. How the fuck can I don't care what the company is, go to that website, ruup.com, be like, do you want to advertise? And then they would look at it and be like, yes.
Google AdWords, man. It was like, well, again, Wild Wild West. Like people would just dump money into shit and Google would like disperse it. But the dirty thing really, I was terrified of it at the time. I would never go on it because I have like a karma thing where I would be like, if you go on that site and support it, you're going to end up on it.
Yeah.
But they, like I said, they used to throw parties. They used to do like takeover parties at clubs and shit. And he would host and all these fucking girls would come out and sit in his table in VIP section. And he was just a dirtbag. And I could never wrap my head around, one, who would pay this guy to come to their club, promote a party, and two, who would pay to show up there and see this guy? I could never understand it.
I don't know, man. It's fucking wild.
But this whole thing just further fuels a belief I've had for a while that I'm so happy Elon Musk put out there with his whole Twitter acquisition plan. And that's to get people verified identities on the internet, which I think is so overdue. I think everybody should have, like you have an IP address, you should have one profile where it's linked to your social media, it's linked to any comments, names, anything. You shouldn't be able to hide behind shit on the internet.
I agree with you. I could see in Chief's brain.
I'm serious.
I'm thinking about
So
it.
all these little fuckheads in the comment sections on Barstool or Fox News or YouTube, anywhere where they sit there and talk shit about people and tear people down. Like now you have to have your fucking face and name to it.
But Chief he's too much of a fan.
Like in real life. Just like in real life. Like if I was to walk out on Belmont right now and spew something racist or misogynist, I would get punched in the fucking face.
Well,
but I can go on YouTube and do it under Secret Man 69.
But what do you think is going to happen if you have a check mark next to your name that says, "Hey, this is Dante, whatever," and then you say something awful?
I should suffer the repercussions, just like I would in real life.
I am not. I don't think we should flippantly give away.
The internet isn't some make-believe place anymore, some alternate reality. It's real life.
There's real consequences.
There should be real consequences because people suffer them, as we saw in this documentary. And if it's only one way, that's fucked up.
I agree with you, Dante. And going back to, like, you know how many times those people have posted before they did something horrible? Like that fucking Parkland shit. Like that guy, in that trial, they had all his YouTube comments, and he literally wrote what he was going to do.
I mean, Highland Park guy too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they had this shit.
Yeah.
If you have a verified account, like you know who it was.
But they should have known who that was, anyways. It wasn't those guys weren't hiding.
Yeah, but if you have all verifieds, it's going to decrease all the bullshit fluff that like kind of gets those buried. You know, there's going to be
get
less
rid of the
bullshit.
bots, get rid of the spam.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's coming anyways. There was something on 60 Minutes yesterday, like the deep fakes, and like there was a video of, I forget who it was. It wasn't Tom Hanks. It was Tom Cruise.
Oh, those ones. Have you seen those?
Fuck that.
Yeah, like that's going to have to happen. Like the verified shit's going to have to happen for everybody. Everyone's going to have a blue check soon. They're going to have to. Sorry, you got to go.
No, keep going.
Okay. No, that's one of the things Elon said though about Twitter was his plan is obviously scrub all the bots and all that shit, but then he wanted to put accountability with people's like tweets, which
no, I think there should be a level.
I don't see anything wrong. I don't think
there's anything wrong with that, but I do think that there's. I am.
You just love drunk Adam Burrish too much.
No, I'm a fan of privacy. I think that there should be and an ability to have, like, I think there's probably, the internet's probably too invasive. And if you just attach everything you do all day long, which I know is kind of a thing already through data, but
it's your choice to do that. Like, I have friends, Keith. Keith has never been on social media in his life.
But those days are gone.
He has, if you Google him, his company comes up, and that is it. He has never had Facebook, never had Twitter, never had Instagram. He's the happiest person I know. I'm so fucking jealous of him.
That guy.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But that, like, you can make a choice to be like, I'm not going to participate in the mud and in the shit.
Some people can. We cannot. And I don't know, like, I am who I am.
Don't you think a lot of the trolling would disappear overnight if people's true identity had to be put with their hatred comments?
I don't know.
I think it would. I think people are very, very tough behind a cloak of anonymity and dude, I've seen it. I've had people, you guys, Eddie probably not because everyone loves Eddie, but you've probably experienced it too, where people will send you the worst fucking thing in the world. I love Francis has been doing this lately the last few weeks, posting his comments.
Oh, I was crying at his Instagram story the other day. And I get hate for the record.
Where he was like, you were going to pull me out of my car? I'm 200 pounds, dude. He's like, what are you, like 140? He's like, you physically can't. You got to get in the gym or whatever.
Yeah,
the guy was like in a pretzel.
He's like, fuck you. I do go to the gym. He's like, but what are you doing? Are you just doing stretching? I was in tears.
But my point is if you engage them, if you're even like, hey, man, seems like you're having a really bad day. Hope things are better. They respond back like, hey, man, I was just kidding. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Like
you try to humanize the internet a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, I've gotten pretty good at, like, I can usually tell who has genuine intentions with their comments and who's just being a fuck. And the people who are, like, critical, but, like, too critical and like, a too personal way, I'll respond to them. And because usually they have something, like, they're coming from a specific place. And I'll address that. And then other people are just fucks. And I have an easy time these days just ignoring the people that I deem as fucks. So I don't know. I kind of want to go back. I feel like I want to have more privacy. I think that it's, like, I don't know if it's through blockchain or whatever, but I do think that there's an element of people are too exposed. But that thing, I don't, like, that's the thing. Like, if, okay, like, I'm Harry, but I'm some guy in Seattle watching, and I'm gonna talk shit about Dante, even if it has Harry's full name, verified ID. You're still 1,000 miles away, so there's probably still gonna be able to be an asshole. But I guess, and then it's like, so then what, Dante? What are the repercussions? You're gonna be arguing for, like, a social credit score? This guy, I'm serious.
No, I'm not. I'm out.
Well, then how do you have both? I guess is because, so if Harry wants to be an asshole to you from Seattle, 1,000 miles away, and it's his identity and it's his name, but there's no physical repercussions because he's so far away and the internet connects everybody. What repercussions does he face unless you're also going to institute, well, hey, like, we are not going to hire you because you made 57 negative comments in a comment section that are attached to your name.
I mean, so companies do that technically.
They can scrape, but if I'm saying, like, I think is fucked up because
what are
the repercussions that you're talking about?
I'm just saying I think it's a deterrent. I
don't think it is.
I've seen, from what I've seen and experienced, the people with real identities, real names, when they talk shit, it's more civil than the people that are like Twitter eggs. Like, the Twitter eggs are just, they say fucking anything.
Yeah.
They make threats. They're, the vitriol is way, way higher because they know, like, oh, no one knows who I am. But the minute someone knows who you are, I think, your guard's up more.
Maybe. I think my inclination or my belief is that those people who are assholes will still be assholes. And there is no way to enforce a penalty against being an asshole. And I don't think that there should either. because if you're going to be like, there's going to be consequences and you have to have everything you say tied to a verified ID, well, then all you're doing is basically instituting a social credit score, a de facto social credit score. And I don't think that's something people want. Yeah, but also if you got to
use your regular name, though, it's going to deter people from being such fucking assholes. Like this fucking...
I don't know if it does.
I think it does totally, bro. Just like... These companies caving and all this shit happening, like this, the cancel culture bullshit, like it's not going to be as prevalent if people actually have to back up their own name. Like I really don't think so.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I don't know. I am hesitant to like usher in something that takes away privacy.
I am
and
not
gives some oversight committee more, because I don't think you can have a consequence without a social credit score.
No,
I just don't think that's a thing.
That's the last thing on earth I
want
is
more
so I was
oversight, surprised to hear you
more
say
oversight
that.
And regulation. I'm saying for personal accountability, like standpoint, the same reason you won't go out and just commit crimes because you fear the consequences. I think there needs to be that sort of like shit on the internet right now, because it's just lawlessness. It's just complete fucking lawlessness. Anyone can say anything, do anything, and there's no repercussions unless for the very few instances, like you said, like doxing, fraud, theft, like all that shit. But it has to be like really extreme.
Yeah, it has to be hacking, fraud. Like you have to commit an actual crime. And while I hate the Twitter trolls, I also push back against this idea that words are violence. And I feel like that's like, words are not violence. Violence is violence. And I feel like that has become like this thing out in like the political and the social construct of our country, where it's like, he injured me. How did he injure you? Well, he said this thing that's mean. That's not injuring you.
You're right.
That's different. That's different. And you should be allowed to say things, even if you're an asshole. You have things that are, your speech is protected. Your assholeness is protected. And I think that the downside of switching that would be more detrimental than just preventing assholes. So I'm willing to have slings and arrows from assholes to protect my own free speech and my own, and I think that's more important.
Fair enough.
I just think you're discounting a little bit how much, everyone likes to talk about mental health now. I think you're discounting how much of that comes from people being assholes online. I think it's a large majority of it, man.
I don't know if it's a large majority. I think that's a multivariate problem. And I think it's a contributing factor for sure. Mm-hmm. I think it's a contributing factor for sure. But I also think there could be, I think there's a lot of mental health and depression that comes from social media.
In general. Correct, I agree.
In general, that's not
comparing
trolls.
And whatnot, shit like that. You're right. You're right. You're very right.
Yeah.
More people need to learn how to just log off for sure.
Log off, or also just be like, I think working towards something that you're proud of and like have a goal in mind. So if you're, if Katie is off in Greece and posting the best picture in the world, like you should just be like, oh, good for Katie, and have some gratitude about things that are going well in your life. And like this is now it's turning into like a fucking TED talk. But like, I think it does feel like that. But I think that having a little bit of gratitude and like self-reflection and it would help curtail a lot of the comparison joy theft that goes on. Like they say that comparison is the thief of joy. Well, just don't do that, because everybody only puts out like the best shit. And it's important to remember that too.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the tail end of it, but I do not envy kids growing up now where it's like, why am I in the third picture instead of the first picture, and why
crazy.
am
I? Yeah, I feel like I never did
MySpace
where they
ranked the top 8's got a little heated.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You got booted from the top 8. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah. So that was one of those things where I'd never had MySpace, so I never knew that was the thing.
I don't know. This conversation went many ways, but I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
People are going to be like, they didn't talk about that documentary like at all.
Yeah. But in a roundabout way, we just talked about the internet in general.
Yeah.
As a whole. Shout out to Charlotte Laws. That's all I got.
I love Charlotte Laws. Author.
And author.
Yeah. That was kind of shocking.
Yeah. Well,
I can get into the Oscars. Like, oh, okay, that's weird.
Very.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then.